Hi everybody, it's Scotty here from Smo Loco. I just wanted to talk about Bill and Hillary Clinton. I was watching TV today and I saw Hillary on TV and she was backing a Democratic candidate. I forget his name and I forget what position this particular candidate was running for. I'll have to look into that. But I was just watching TV and I saw Hillary on TV and she was on stage and clapping and standing behind this particular Democratic candidate that she was endorsing. And I was watching her body language and I was watching how she was reacting to the crowd, and she was doing all the orchestrated things a typical actor candidate, political candidate would do. She was doing this like you know what I'm saying, right? Like just total phony body language. And just for your information, I mean, if you're watching my video right now and you're familiar with my page on Facebook, Smo Loco, then I mean, I'm gonna assume that you're aware of the corruption taking place inside our government. I wouldn't, if you even want to call it a government. But other than that, this woman, Hillary, is a total sellout. Both her and her husband, Bill, they don't care about the common person. They have no regard at all for the ordinary American citizen like you and I. It is all about them. And I mean, this is just, I mean, I'm not trying to sound biased. I'm not trying to sound, I'm no Republican and I'm no Democrat. I'm just a constitutionalist. I'm just, a human being. I am not affiliated with any party. So, don't take my rhetoric right now as conservative talking points. But what I'm trying to tell you is that Hillary and Bill Clinton have no concern at all for you and I, and it is disgusting every time I see this woman on television, especially when I hear people talking about her running for presidency in 2016. This woman is, and please, I'm not trying to sound far-fetched, she literally is a sociopath, in my honest opinion, and I'll stand by that opinion till the day I die, from all the research and reading and information that I've come across in my lifetime. I 100% stand by that this woman and her husband Bill are sociopaths. I don't even know where to begin with you guys. Honestly, I don't even know where to begin with you guys, or where to start with the corruption that both these people have committed throughout their political careers and lifetime. Hillary Clinton is the bottom of the barrel, and so is Bill Clinton. They're honestly both at the bottom of the barrel. You literally cannot get any more sick, demented, degenerated, evil than these two people. It is all about them and their political careers and reputations. As you guys probably know, since you're watching my video right now, we haven't had any real presidents, in my opinion, since John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy was the last, in my opinion, the last president that we have had that was willing to take a stance against the Illuminati. Yes, I know some people are going to hear me say that. Oh, the Illuminati. Oh my God, this guy's talking about the Illuminati. He is a conspiracy theorist. He is just so crazy. I don't even want to listen to this guy anymore. And I know that's what some people are thinking when they hear me say the Illuminati. But, I mean, that's just what I call them. I mean, I can call them the corporate globalists. I can call them the New World Order. I could call them international bankers, you know. But, I mean, to sum it all up, we are being ran by a satanic cult. And I prefer to just group all these things together as the Illuminati, the corporations, the globalists, the sellout politicians, you know, everything into one big googly gulp. You know, that's what I like to call them, the Illuminati. And that's what it is. We're just being ran by this centralized group of wealthy, elite families that have a monopoly on our currency. They're able to create money out of thin air, and they have banks, and they have their banks, such as the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve, every time our government needs money, our government goes to the Fed. The Fed says, all right, here's $1 billion, whatever, 50 billion, 20 billion, whatever, but here's so much interest charged on the money you're going to borrow. And it's a big Ponzi scheme. It's a big scheme. Taxpayers get stuck with the interest on the money that our government borrows from the Fed. And, you know, what else do I have to tell you? Our taxes aren't going to our country anymore. It's not going to the infrastructure, educational system, veteran benefits, nothing positive. And that's why we're seeing decaying, bankrupt cities like Detroit now that are $18 billion in debt. But anyway, I don't want to go into all of these topics. I'll try to save each one for a video. Let me get back to the Clintons. Bill Clinton and both Hillary Clinton are both just, they're puppets for the Illuminati, the international bankers. Bill Clinton, since he is, this guy is literally so emotionless towards other people that it disturbs me to even tell you some of this stuff. He has raped countless women. He has had close friends murdered who have dared to expose his corruption that he has done. And he's had so many people murdered, as I just said, that dared to taint his political reputation. And let me get into some of these deaths that are connected to the Clintons. As you guys most likely know, the CIA is distributing cocaine, heroin, all kinds of drugs into our country. And while Bill Clinton was governor of Arkansas, the CIA used Mena, Arkansas Airport, that's Mena, M-E-N-A, Mena, Arkansas Airport, as a hot spot to drop off cocaine into the United States. Under Bill Clinton's tenureship as governor, the CIA had an agreement with Clinton, and Clinton, as a Illuminati puppet would, didn't protest or dare say a word to stop the distribution of cocaine into Arkansas. And one night, there were these two boys named, let me see here, Kevin Ives and Don Henry, Kevin Ives and Don Henry. These two boys were 17 years old. They were in the woods, you know, doing what any 17-year-old boys would be doing, hiking, you know, maybe goofing off, just running around the earth at night. You know, they were curious. They didn't want to be at home. They wanted to go out and have a little fun. You know, I mean, high testosterone male teenage boys. They're going to be in the woods sometimes at night. You know, that's nothing unusual. So these boys are in the woods, and they're from Arkansas, Mena, Arkansas, and they're in the woods right, and this is near the airport in Mena, Arkansas. And it's nighttime, and they see an airplane coming into Arkansas. It's coming in, and they're like, whoa. Because this is no ordinary airplane. This is like I'm sorry, I apologize for calling it an airplane. It's a small little jet coming in, and they're like, whoa. So they stop, and I'm assuming there's these gates that are probably about 20 to 30 feet in front of them from where they are at the woods. And they're like, yo, hey, what's going on here? So they walk closer towards the airport hangars, and the jet comes and it lands. And here are Kevin Ives and Don Henry. They see this, and the jet lands, and then they start noticing men dressed in black, government apparel, unloading big white shipments off of this jet. And, you know, these kids weren't stupid, and they knew it was cocaine. So they see all this cocaine. It's coming down. It's coming off of this jet. And they're like, shit, there's cocaine smuggling going on over here. Like, fuck. I mean, you know, they most likely weren't going to do anything about it. Maybe they would have told some of their friends, or, word would have got around. But I mean, honestly, what were they going to do to stop it? Anyway, security guards around the airport found these two boys that noticed the cocaine coming off of this jet that landed in Mena, Arkansas. It was a CIA jet, and both of these boys were murdered. They were found the next morning with their skulls crashed in. Their skulls just completely crashed in. And the families were told that they fell asleep on train tracks that were nearby in the woods. And they died because a train happened to ran over them when they were sleeping. Okay, let me reiterate. So, all right, a security guard finds these two 17-year-old boys that happen to notice CIA drug shipments coming into Mena, Arkansas, cocaine. Security guard finds them. They get murdered. Next morning, they're found on a nearby railroad track, and the families and the papers and everyone is told that these boys died because they were drunk, and they passed out on a railroad track, and a train happened to run over them, and both of their skulls were cracked or crashed in. No, I don't buy that. I don't buy that one bit. Not one bit. And just to give you guys more of a substantial story, let me read from you this article I have here regarding both of these 17-year-old boys. First ruled a suicide. A later autopsy showed that both boys were murdered before this supposed train happened to run over them. They may have gotten too curious about the airdrops they had seen nearby in the countryside, in the woods. Initial cause of death was reported to be the result of falling asleep on a railroad track in Arkansas on August 23rd, 1987. This ruling was reported by the state medical examiner Fahmy Malak, and that's Fahmy-Malak, Fahmy Malak. That was the medical examiner that did the autopsy on both of these young 17-year-old boys. Later, it was determined that both Kevin and Henry died from a crushed skull prior to being placed on the tracks. So let me tell you, we have, during Bill Clinton's tenureship as governor of Arkansas, and this is well known throughout the intelligence agency and people that are doing their research on these Illuminati puppets that have had their hands on our country. All of our political leaders are puppets, most of them. They're not real leaders. They're all bought off, and they're not for the American people. But anyway, Bill Clinton, under his governorship, was allowing the CIA to import and export cocaine from Mena, Arkansas airport. Two young 17-year-old boys happened to come across this corrupt behavior taking place by the CIA with the approval of Bill Clinton, and they both end up murdered. They're found on a railroad track nearby, and then an autopsy proves that their skulls were cracked open before being placed on that railroad track. The CIA, Bill Clinton, the administrative cabinet of Arkansas didn't want these boys to talk. It would have hurt the CIA's black budget. You see, why do you think all these drugs are being distributed into our country? Why do you think we have soldiers over in Afghanistan guarding poppy plants? It's because the CIA gets a huge cut in drug dealing. And that's where they make a lot of their money to fund black budget operations. This is sick. Sick. And just to let you know, John F. Kennedy was going to disband the CIA. He was going to fire hundreds of employees and dismantle it, as was Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter, don't get me wrong, was a puppet. But the last year of his presidency, he started waking up to a lot of stuff, and they got him the hell out of there, and they put Reagan in there immediately. Reagan was a total sellout. He initiated the erection of this police state. I'll save another video for Reagan for another day, but let me just tell you, the CIA is filthy, and Bill Clinton went hand in hand with them. And Mena, Arkansas was a hot spot for CIA cocaine smuggling into the United States. And under Bill Clinton's watch as governor, he allowed the CIA to distribute cocaine into the United States, and he didn't stop him. In fact, he benefited from this corrupt behavior, got payoffs, and was rewarded for being a puppet, hence his presidency later. I could talk more about this, but I just want you guys to understand that the Clintons are filthy. Hillary Clinton is nothing but trash. Under Benghazi, 4 dead Americans died. Ambassador Stevens, he was, I don't even want to get into Benghazi because I'll be talking all night about it. But they both are nothing but sellouts. And they have been trained. They have been trained, in my opinion, not good, but they think they've been trained very well by acting coaches. And they're typical MK Ultra, Hollywood, they've been trained by Hollywood actor coaches and everything so that they could manipulate and fool the public to pass the globalist agenda. Do not be fooled by these people. In 2016, and we're most likely going to be seeing candidates just Jeb Bush, Hillary Clinton, and all the other mainstream establishment candidates such as Mark Rubio and everyone else. Fuck all these candidates, Republican, Democrat. You know, I'm glad Ted Cruz is against Obamacare, and I agree with him on everything he has to say about Obamacare. But you know what, Ted Cruz, where the fuck is your opinion on the Federal Reserve that is charging exorbitant interest on our government every time it needs to borrow money? We shouldn't have to be borrowing money from a private or central bank. Our government under Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution should have the power to coin and regulate currency. We shouldn't be borrowing money from any fucking private bank. And where are you on that issue, Ted Cruz? If you want my vote, and if you honestly want people to take you serious, then start talking about the Fed. But I don't think he's going to. I think he's controlled opposition. And I hate to say it, I think Rand Paul might even be controlled opposition. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to wait another year or two and see what he's talking about during the 2016 presidential debates and all that. But, you know, I'm not seeing much from Rand Paul. That's really controversial. You know, maybe he's scared for his life and he's just saying, you know what, hell with it. I'm just going to, you know, try to do as much as I can without getting killed. And, you know, if they let me be president, I'll be a puppet and I'll try to do everything that's good for the country. But, you know, in my opinion, I don't think Rand Paul is going to deliver either. I think we need somebody entirely new that's not going to associate themselves with the Republican or Democratic Party. Jesse Ventura, in my opinion, is controlled opposition. He makes a lot of great points, don't get me wrong, and I agree with a lot he has to say about Kennedy, 9/11, everything, but I just feel like he's controlled opposition, and he's not touching the Fed. He's not touching the money powers. So I want to see a candidate in 2016 that's going to touch the money powers, the Rothschilds. You know what? Basically, here's what it's going to come down to for me to actually realize a candidate is the real deal. I need to see a candidate that's going to say, hey, we need to end the Federal Reserve and the foreign banker families that are controlling America's currency. And one of those families is the Rothschilds. That's what will make me believe we have a real candidate. Until I hear that or see anything like that from a candidate, even mildly close, I'll just write them off as controlled opposition. But anyway, God bless you guys. Thanks for watching my video. You know, I could go on with more about the women Bill Clinton has murdered and raped and some of his best friends he's murdered, but check out some of my photos on Smo Loco. I've gone into a little bit. Juanita Brown was a close, what was she? She worked for Bill Clinton while he was governor. I think she was an aide, and he bit her lip so hard and raped her. She tried pressing charges. She was threatened to be killed, and you know, they shut her up. But anyway, take care, guys, and God bless you. Thank you.